Hanul Kim sat in the Grand Council chamber and felt her stomach tighten. The room was massive, with walls that curved up into a dome showing the stars outside. 12 seats formed a circle, each one filled by a representative from a different alien species. Hanul was the only human in the room. She had been Earth's ambassador for 3 years now. Most days the job was boring. She attended meetings where aliens argued about trade routes and mining rights. She signed papers. She smiled and nodded. But today was different. Today, everything felt wrong. Premier Valton stood at the center of the circle. He was Nixari, which meant he looked almost like a tall human, except his skin was pale blue and his eyes were completely black. He had always been polite to Hanul. He had welcomed Earth into the council 15 years ago. But now as he looked at her, his face was cold. Ambassador Kim, Valton said. His voice echoed in the chamber. We must discuss the Veil Expanse. Hanul stood up. She had prepared for this. 3 months ago, a human exploration team led by Captain Taeyang Lee had found something amazing in the Veil Expanse. It was a region of space that everyone thought was empty and useless. But Taeyang had discovered deposits of chromium, a rare element that made faster-than-light travel possible. Without chromium, spaceships could only move slowly between stars. With it, the galaxy opened up. The Veil Expanse belongs to Earth, Hanul said clearly. Our people discovered it. Our people are mining it. According to council law, the right of first discovery gives us claim to that region. Valton smiled, but there was no warmth in it. Council law also states that all disputed territories belong to the council as a whole. We have decided that the Veil Expanse is a disputed territory. Disputed by whom? Hanul asked. No one else has claimed it. No one else even knew it had value until we found the chromium. It is disputed by us, said General Crix. He was Thorin, which meant he was huge and covered in thick armor-like skin. His voice sounded like rocks grinding together. The council disputes your claim. That is all that matters. Hanul felt anger rising in her chest, but she kept her voice calm. Then let us negotiate. Earth is willing to share the chromium. We can work out a fair arrangement. There will be no negotiation, Valton said. We are calling a vote on Resolution 447. This resolution will transfer all rights to the Veil Expanse to the Council. The chromium will be distributed among the founding members. The founding members, Hanul repeated, which does not include Earth. Correct. Valton looked around at the other council members. All in favor? One by one, 11 hands rose into the air. Hanul stood alone, watching them vote away everything her people had worked for. She wanted to scream. She wanted to walk out. But she stayed quiet and still. The vote is 11-1, Valton announced. Resolution 447 passes. But there is more. He pulled up a holographic display that showed Earth and its colonies. We are also invoking Emergency Provision Omega-7. Hanul's blood went cold. She knew what Omega-7 meant. It was a rule that allowed the Council to take military control of any species they deemed a threat to galactic peace. You cannot be serious, she said. Humanity has shown aggressive tendencies. Valton continued. Your military buildup concerns us. Your territorial ambitions in the Veil Expanse prove that you cannot be trusted with unrestricted military power. Therefore, Earth will surrender all military vessels to Council control within 72 hours. Any resistance will be considered an act of war against the entire galactic community. The chamber was silent. Hanul looked at each council member in turn. Some would not meet her eyes. Others stared back with expressions that ranged from pity to contempt. Only Councillor Thane of the Lyrium Collective seemed troubled, but even he did not speak up. This is wrong, Hanul said quietly. You invited us to join the Council. You promised us equal treatment, and now you are taking everything from us because we found something valuable. This is not justice. This is theft. This meeting is concluded, Valton said. You have 72 hours, Ambassador. I suggest you convince your military to comply. If they do not, the consequences will be severe. Hanul left the chamber. Her hands were shaking. She walked through the curved corridors of the station until she reached the secure communication room where her staff was waiting. Dr. Yuna. Choi stood up immediately when she saw Hanul's face. They did it, Yuna said. It was not a question. They did it, Hanul confirmed. They took the Veil Expanse, and they are demanding we surrender our fleet. We knew this might happen, said Colonel Bora Shin. She was head of Earth's intelligence division, and she had been warning about this for months. The Council has been looking for an excuse to put humanity in its place. They saw us as weak when we joined, and they have resented every bit of progress we have made since then. Hanul sat down heavily. What do? We contact Commander Daejung, Bora said, and we let Earth's military council make the decision they were always going to have to make. 3 hours later, Hanul was on a secure video call with Earth. On the screen, she could see Commander Daejung Park, Admiral Mi-sun Huang, and 5 other high-ranking military officers. They listened as she explained what had happened in the council chamber. So they want us to give them our ships, Daejung said when she finished, and if we refuse, they will attack. They are sending a fleet of 300 warships to enforce the surrender. Hanul confirmed. We have 47 ships in total. They expect us to realize we cannot win. Can we win? Asked one of the other officers. Admiral Mi-sun spoke up. She was old and tired, but her eyes were sharp. In a straight fight? No, their ships are more advanced. They have more firepower. They have been a spacefaring civilization for thousands of years, while we have been in space for barely 2 centuries. But, Daejung prompted. But they have not fought a real war in 3,000 years. Mi-sun continued. They rely on their technology and their numbers. They have forgotten what it means to fight an enemy that will do anything to survive. We have not forgotten. Humanity has never stopped fighting. We fought each other for 10,000 years on Earth. We fought over Mars. We fought over the asteroid colonies. Fighting is what we know. The room was quiet. Then Daejung spoke. If we surrender, they will control us forever. They will take everything we build, every discovery we make, every world we settle. We will be slaves in everything but name. Yes, Hanul said softly. Then we do not surrender, Daejung said. We fight. And if we die free. One by one, the other officers nodded. The vote was unanimous. Hanul felt tears in her eyes, but she blinked them away. I will evacuate all non-military personnel from this station, she said, and then I am coming home. Good, Daejung said. We will need you for what comes next. When the council fleet arrived at the Veil Expanse 3 days later, they found the human ships waiting. General Crix, commanding the council forces, sent one final message demanding surrender. The response came from Commander Daejung himself. It was only 3 words long, but those 3 words would echo across the galaxy for years to come. Come and take it. General Crix stood on the bridge of his flagship and watched the human fleet on his viewing screen. 47 ships. That was all they had. His fleet had 300. The outcome was obvious. This would not even be a real battle. It would be a demonstration of council power. Send the final warning, he ordered. His communications officer sent the message. Crix waited. He expected the humans would realize their situation was hopeless and surrender. Perhaps they had just needed to make a show of defiance for their people back home. But then the response came. 3 words. Crix read them and felt his temper rising. They refuse, he said. So be it, all ships attack formation. We will disable their vessels and take them by force. The council fleet moved forward in perfect formation. Crix had drilled them well. 300 ships advancing as one, their weapons charged and ready. It was beautiful and terrifying. No species could stand against such power. But then something unexpected happened. The human ships did not hold their defensive positions. Instead, they scattered. They broke apart into small groups and began moving in different directions. There was no pattern, no formation. It looked like chaos. What are they doing? Crix demanded. His tactical officer studied the displays. I do not know, General. They appear to have lost cohesion. Perhaps their command structure has broken down. Crix did not think it was that simple, but he could not understand what he was seeing. In Council military doctrine, ships fought together in organized formations. They supported each other. They followed their commander's orders. What the humans were doing made no sense. Continue the attack, he said. Target the nearest human vessels. The council ships opened fire. But hitting the human vessels was harder than Crix had expected. They were fast, faster than his ships, and they moved in ways that seemed impossible. They spun and dove and climbed at angles that should have killed their crews from the acceleration forces. But somehow the humans survived these maneuvers. Worse, the humans were not just running. They were shooting back. Small groups of human ships would surround a council vessel, hit it from multiple directions, and then scatter before Crix's forces could respond. It was like trying to fight a swarm of insects. You could not predict where they would strike next. Then the mining stations opened fire. Crix had known there were civilian mining platforms in the area, but he had ignored them. Mining stations were not military targets. They were just workers extracting chromium. But now weapons systems were emerging from those stations. Hidden guns. Missile launchers. The stations had been armed this whole time. They tricked us, Crix said. Those are not mining stations. They are fortresses. The Council fleet was caught in a crossfire. Human ships attacked from above and below. The stations fired from fixed positions, creating kill zones that Crix's ships could not avoid. His perfect formation was breaking apart. Ships collided with each other as they tried to maneuver. Communications became confused. Officers shouted conflicting orders, and the humans kept attacking. They showed no fear. A human ship with a damaged engine would ram itself into a Council vessel rather than retreat. Another human ship, completely out of ammunition, used its own hull as a weapon. Crix had never seen anything like it. These humans fought like they had nothing to lose. "General, we have lost 47 ships," his tactical officer reported. 47! The same number as their entire fleet. Crix stared at the number. It was impossible. And yet it was true. In 30 minutes of fighting, the humans had destroyed 47 Council ships. They had made their point. "We can hurt you. We can make you pay." Then a message came through on all frequencies. It was Commander Daejung. Crix could see him on the screen. The human looked tired but determined. His uniform was scorched from a fire somewhere on his ship, but his eyes were steady. "You came to take what is ours," Daejung said. "We have shown you the cost. 47 of your ships for nothing. This is your only warning. Leave now, or we will show you what humanity does to those who threaten our survival." "We did not come to the stars to kneel. We came to thrive. And if you force our hand, you will learn why Earth's history is written in blood." Crix wanted to refuse. He wanted to order his remaining ships to fight until every human vessel was destroyed. But he looked at the tactical display. More than 200 of his ships were still functional. But they were disorganized. Their crews were frightened. And the humans showed no sign of stopping. If he continued the battle, how many more ships would he lose? 100? 200? And the humans would keep fighting until the last one was gone. They had proven that. Crix made his decision. "All ships retreat," he ordered. "Fall back to the rally point." The Council fleet withdrew. For the first time in 3,000 years they had been defeated. And all across the galaxy, species were watching the combat footage. They saw the mighty Council fleet arrive with overwhelming force. They saw the humans scatter and strike like predators. They saw the Council retreat. Dr. Yuna Choi watched the battle from a safe distance. She had been studying alien species for years, learning their weaknesses. She had known the Council relied on formation fighting. She had known their ships were slower than human vessels. She had known their crews were not trained for the kind of chaotic, brutal combat that humans excelled at. Everything had gone according to plan. Well, mostly. They had expected to lose some ships. They had expected casualties, but they had also expected the Council to underestimate them. And the Council had not disappointed. "They thought we were weak because we are new to space travel," Yuna said to her assistant. "They forgot that we have been fighting each other for our entire history. Every human child grows up hearing stories of war. Every human knows that sometimes you have to fight even when the odds are bad. The Council species have been at peace for so long, they forgot what war really means." Her assistant nodded. "What happens now?" "Now the Council will panic," Yuna said. "They will realize they made a terrible mistake, and they will either make peace with us, or they will try to destroy us completely. There is no middle ground anymore." Back on Earth, Admiral Mi-sun Huang addressed the Planetary Council. Every nation's representative was present. They had all seen the battle. They knew what it meant. "We have won the first battle," Mi-sun said, "but this is only the beginning. The Council will not accept this defeat. They will come back with more ships. They will try to blockade Earth. They will attempt to cut off our colonies. We must be ready for a long war." "Can we win a long war?" asked the representative from Africa. "We can survive a long war," Mi-sun answered. "And if we survive long enough, we can win. The Council is powerful, but they are not united. They are 12 different species with 12 different agendas. If we can divide them, if we can make some of them question whether this war is worth fighting, then we have a chance." "And if we cannot divide them?" asked another representative. Mi-sun was quiet for a moment. Then she said, "Then we make the price of defeating us so high that they will wish they had never tried. We make them remember why humanity survived when so many other species on Earth went extinct. We adapt, we improvise. We never give up. That is what we do. That is who we are." On the Nexara station, Premier Valton received the news of the defeat. He sat alone in his office, watching the battle footage over and over. He had been so certain, so confident. The humans were weak. They were new. They would surrender when faced with real power, but they had not surrendered. They had fought, and they had won. Valton felt something he had not felt in many years, fear. Not fear of death or injury. Fear that he had made a mistake that could not be corrected. Fear that he had awakened something dangerous, something that would not stop until the council itself was destroyed. He pressed a button on his desk. "Convene the full council," he said. "We need to discuss our next move." Across the galaxy, the message spread. The humans had fought the council and survived. They had taken on an enemy with overwhelming power and made them retreat. And now everyone was asking the same question. What would happen next? The council met in secret. They did not want the galaxy to see them arguing. They did not want anyone to know they were afraid. But inside the chamber there was no hiding it. The defeat at the Veil Expanse had shaken them all. "We must attack again," General Crick said. His voice was loud and angry. "We cannot let this stand. If other species see that humans can defy us without consequences, the entire council system will collapse." "And what do you propose?" asked Councillor Thane. He was old, even by Lyrium standards. He had lived through wars that happened before most species in the room had even developed space travel. "We send more ships? The humans will destroy those too. They have shown they know how to fight. We have shown we do not." "Then we send overwhelming force," Crix argued. "Not 300 ships? 1,000. 2,000. Enough that even their tricks and tactics cannot save them." "We do not have 2,000 ships," said another counselor. "And even if we did, who would crew them? My people are traders, not warriors. The same is true for most council species. We have maintained peace for 3,000 years. Our military forces are small. Ceremonial almost." Premier Valton raised his hand for silence. "There is another option. We have been looking at this wrong. The humans are strong in battle, yes, but they are weak everywhere else. Their supply lines are stretched thin. Their colonies are scattered. Their homeworld is deep in their territory, but the path to reach it goes through checkpoints we control. You want to blockade them?" Thane said. "I want to strangle them," Valton replied. "We cut off their trade. We seize their cargo ships. We isolate their colonies. We do not fight them in open battle where they are strong. We starve them until they have no choice but to surrender." The room was quiet as the counselors considered this. It was a sound strategy, the kind of strategy that had kept the council in power for millennia. Do not fight your enemy where they are strong. Attack where they are weak. It made perfect sense. But Thane shook his head. "You are making the same mistake again. You assume the humans will react the way we would react. You assume they will try to preserve what they have. You assume they will choose survival over pride. But everything we have seen suggests they will not. Then they will destroy themselves," Valton said coldly, "and we will be rid of the problem." The vote was taken. The blockade would begin immediately. Council ships moved to control the major trade routes. Human cargo vessels were turned back or seized. Messages were sent to all council members and allies. Anyone who traded with humanity would face sanctions. Anyone who helped them would be considered an enemy of the council. For 2 weeks, the blockade held. Human colonies began to run short on supplies. The flow of chromium from the Veil Expanse stopped. Ships could not travel. People could not leave. It seemed like Valton's strategy was working. The humans were trapped. Then humanity struck back, but not where the council expected. Not against the blockade, against everything else. On stations throughout council space, systems began failing. Power grids went down. Communication networks crashed. Environmental controls malfunctioned. At first, the council thought it was coincidence. Then they realized the truth. Humans had been living among them for 15 years, working on their stations, repairing their systems, learning every weak point in their infrastructure. And now those weak points were being exploited. Lieutenant Sung Ho. Im was one of dozens of human agents who had been waiting for this moment. He had worked as a maintenance technician on a council military base for 3 years. Everyone trusted him. He was quiet, competent, and always willing to help. Now he stood in a restricted section of the base, attaching a small device to the main power relay. When it activated, the entire base would go dark for 6 hours, long enough for a human strike team to raid the weapons depot and disappear. Sung-Ho worked quickly and carefully. No one would know he had been here until it was too late. Across the galaxy, similar operations were happening. Cargo ships disappeared. Supply depots exploded. Communication relays were destroyed. The Council's carefully organized infrastructure began to crumble. And every attack carried the same message. You cannot control us. You cannot predict us. You cannot stop us. Captain Jiwoo Kang led a raid on a Thorin supply station. Her team of 20 humans moved through the station like ghosts. They knew exactly where the guards would be. They knew the camera blind spots. They knew which cargo containers held the most valuable weapons and which held worthless supplies. In 15 minutes, they loaded 3 shuttles with advanced weapon systems and were gone. They left behind a message written on the wall of the depot. It said simply, "Thank you for the donation to Humanity's Defense Fund." Jiwoo smiled as she read her own handwriting. The Thorin would be furious. Good, let them be furious. But humanity's strategy was not just about raids and sabotage. It was about sending a message to the entire galaxy, and that message was being heard. The Kalari were a species that had asked to join the Council 200 years ago. The Council had refused, saying they were not advanced enough. They were not worthy. But the Kalari had watched humanity join after only a few decades of space travel. They had seen the Council welcome humans while continuing to deny them. The rejection had hurt. Now the Kalari leadership sent a secret delegation to Earth. They wanted to talk. They wanted to explore the possibility of an alliance. If humanity could stand up to the Council, maybe they could too. The Zephan colonies had been paying tribute to the Council for 70 years. Heavy tribute, minerals, food, technology. The Council called it a fair exchange for protection and access to trade routes. The Zephan called it theft, but they had never been strong enough to refuse. Now Zephan cargo ships started missing their scheduled tribute deliveries. When the Council demanded an explanation, the Zephan said pirates had attacked them. No one believed it, but the Council was too busy dealing with human raids to enforce the tribute. The Zephan kept their resources, and they started wondering what else they could keep if the Council was distracted. In markets and stations across the galaxy, aliens were sharing combat footage from the Battle of Vale Expanse. They watched human ships dodge and weave through Council formations. They watched human pilots pull maneuvers that should have been impossible. They watched the mighty Council fleet retreat in disarray, and in a dozen different languages the same phrase kept appearing. The humans don't stop. It was said with awe, with fear, with respect. Humanity had become something the galaxy had not seen in a long time. A symbol of resistance, a reminder that the Council was not invincible. General Crix knew he had to do something. The raids were making him look weak. The blockade was not working. Every day brought new reports of human attacks. His own soldiers were nervous. Some were even questioning whether this war was justified. He went to Premier Valton with a plan. We stop trying to fight them in space. We go directly to Earth. We take the war to their homeworld. Once Earth is threatened, they will have to pull back all their forces to defend it. Then we can destroy them in one decisive battle. Valton considered this. It was risky. If they failed, the Council would be humiliated even further. But if they succeeded, the war would be over. How many ships do you need? 500, Crix said. Half our total military force. But it will be enough. Earth's defenses cannot stand against that many ships. We will force their surrender or destroy their homeworld. Either way, the war ends. Valton gave his approval. The fleet was assembled in secret. 500 warships from 8 different Council species. It was the largest military force the Council had deployed in over 1,000 years. Surely it would be enough. The fleet set course for Earth. They moved quickly, hoping to catch the humans by surprise. They avoided the known human positions. They took routes through dead systems where no one would see them coming. It was a perfect plan, except the humans knew they were coming. Lieutenant Unji Nam, working as a civilian contractor on a Council station, had learned about the fleet 3 days after it launched. She sent an encrypted message to Earth, and Earth prepared. Admiral Misun Huang smiled when she received the message. "They are coming directly at us," she said to her staff. They think they can threaten Earth and make us surrender. They do not understand. Threatening Earth does not make us weaker. It makes us more dangerous. She looked at the tactical map showing the Sol system, the asteroids, the hidden weapons platforms, the disguised warships. Everything was ready. Everything was waiting. Let them come, she said. We will show them what happens when you threaten humanity's home. We will show them the difference between fighting to conquer and fighting to survive. And when this is over, they will never threaten us again. The Council fleet entered the Sol system. Ahead of them they could see Earth, a small blue world, fragile, beautiful, and completely undefended. Or so it seemed. General Crix ordered his fleet forward. The path was clear. Victory was at hand. Then they reached the asteroid belt, and everything changed. The asteroid belt looked empty. General Crix's sensors showed nothing but rocks drifting in space. Millions of rocks. Some were small as pebbles. Others were massive as mountains. But they were just rocks, harmless, natural, nothing to worry about. Continue forward, Crix ordered. Maintain formation. We will be at Earth within 3 hours. His fleet moved deeper into the asteroid belt. 500 ships in perfect formation. The smaller asteroids bounced harmlessly off their shields. The larger ones they navigated around. It was slow going, but it was safe. Or so Crix thought. Then the first asteroid moved on its own. It was a large one, maybe 2 kilometers across. It had been drifting peacefully, but now it was accelerating. Thrust engines hidden inside it fired to life. The asteroid changed course. It was heading directly at Crix's flagship. Evasive maneuvers, Crix shouted. His ship turned hard to the side. The asteroid missed by 100 meters. It was close. Too close. And then Crix realized what he was seeing. That asteroid had engines. It was a weapon. All ships scan for engine signatures, he ordered. Find them. The sensors came back with results that made Crix's blood freeze. Hundreds of asteroids had engines attached. Maybe thousands. The entire belt was armed. Every rock could be a weapon. And they were all activating now. The second wave hit before Crix could react. 20 asteroids, each moving at orbital velocity, slammed into Council ships. The shields held against the first few impacts. But then the shields failed. And when a 2-kilometer rock traveling at 20 kilometers per second hits a spaceship, there is no survival. The ship simply ceased to exist. Break formation. Crix screamed. All ships, scatter. Get out of the belt. But it was too late. The trap had been sprung. As the Council ships tried to escape, more surprises revealed themselves. Some asteroids split open to reveal hidden weapons platforms, railguns, missile launchers, laser batteries. They had been disguised as ordinary rocks, but now they were firing at point-blank range. Other asteroids were not asteroids at all. They were warships. Human warships with hulls covered in rock and ice to hide their signatures. Now the disguises fell away and the ships emerged, weapons hot and ready. They were everywhere, above, below, on all sides. The Council fleet was surrounded. Admiral Mi Sun Huang watched the battle from her command ship. She sat calmly in her chair, giving orders in a steady voice. She had spent 6 months preparing this trap. Every asteroid had been carefully positioned. Every weapons platform had been tested and retested. Every warship had practiced its reveal 100 times. The Council had come to Earth thinking they would find an easy target. Instead, they had walked into a kill zone, and Mi Sun intended to make sure they never threatened her homeworld again. All units fire at will, she said quietly. Show them what it means to threaten Earth. The battle lasted 6 hours. It was not really a battle. It was a massacre. The Council ships were trapped in a maze of asteroids with enemies on all sides. They could not form up. They could not support each other. They could only try to survive. And most of them failed. Captain Hyunwoo Lee commanded one of the disguised warships. His ship had been hiding inside a hollowed-out asteroid for 3 weeks, waiting for this moment. Now he and his crew were making every shot count. His tactical officer called out targets. His weapons officer fired. Every shot hit. Every hit killed or crippled a Council ship. Target destroyed, his weapons officer reported. Moving to next target. Acknowledged, Hyunwoo said. Keep firing. We have a lot more work to do. Around him, other human ships were doing the same thing. The Council fleet was being torn apart. Ship after ship exploded or went dark. Some tried to surrender, but there was no one listening. The humans were not taking prisoners today. Today was about sending a message. Attack Earth and you die. Simple as that. General Crix watched his fleet die around him. His flagship was damaged but still functional. Barely. He had lost count of how many ships were gone. 200? 300? It did not matter anymore. The fleet was destroyed. The mission was a failure. He had to get out. All remaining ships retreat, he ordered. Emergency jump. Get us out of here. The surviving council ships activated their faster-than-light drives and fled. Out of 500 ships that had entered the Sol system, fewer than 200 escaped. It was the worst defeat in council history, and everyone in the galaxy was watching. On Earth, people celebrated in the streets. They had been terrified when they heard the council was coming. 500 warships against their homeworld. It had seemed hopeless. But Admiral Misun and Commander Daejung had been ready. They had turned the asteroid belt into the largest minefield in human history. And it had worked. Across the galaxy, the news spread like wildfire. The Council had attacked Earth with half their military force, and they had been destroyed. The humans had not just won. They had dominated. They had shown tactical brilliance and ruthless execution. They had proven they belonged among the stars. 3 council members immediately called for peace negotiations. The Lyrium Collective, the Vexen Union, and the Orathi Commonwealth released a joint statement. They said the war with humanity was unjust and must end. They called for Valton to step down. They demanded an investigation into how the conflict had started. Premier Valton tried to maintain his authority, but it was crumbling. His own people were turning against him. The Nexari had lost ships in the battle. Nexari families were mourning their dead, and they were asking why. Why had their government started a war with humanity? What had they gained? Nothing. They had lost everything. Then Ambassador Hanul emerged from hiding. She had been coordinating with Earth throughout the war, but now she appeared publicly for the first time in weeks. She broadcast a message on every channel in the galaxy. The Council betrayed us because they thought we were weak, she said. Her voice was calm but firm. They were wrong. We did not want this war. We wanted partnership. We wanted peace. But when you threatened our survival, you awakened something you should have left sleeping. We are humanity. We are the descendants of predators who conquered their own world. We have fought each other for 10,000 years over every resource and idea imaginable. And we are still here. That should have told you something. Now we offer terms. The Veil Expanse remains under human control. All sanctions against humanity are lifted. Earth maintains full military independence. The Council issues a formal apology and pays reparations. And Premier Valton and General Crix stand trial for their crimes. These terms are not negotiable. Accept them and we return to peace. Refuse and we will show you what total war means to a species that learned it from birth. We have been holding back. Do not make us show you what we are really capable of. The message ended. For a long moment, the galaxy was silent. Then the responses began flooding in. Species that had never spoken to humans before sent messages of support. Oppressed colonies that had suffered under Council rule reached out with offers of alliance. Even some Council members quietly indicated they would support humanity's terms. The Council was fracturing. Half the members wanted to accept the terms immediately. The other half wanted to continue fighting, but they had no military force left to fight with. The debate turned ugly. Accusations flew. Old grudges surfaced. The unity that had held the Council together for 3,000 years was breaking apart. Then Lieutenant Yunjinam released her evidence. She had been gathering information for years, waiting for the right moment. Now she revealed that Premier Valton had ordered the assassination of Earth's previous ambassador 5 years ago. He had been planning to subjugate humanity from the moment they joined the Council. The betrayal was not opportunistic. It was premeditated murder. The revelation destroyed what remained of Valton's support. 6 Council members immediately withdrew their backing. The Nexari people demanded his resignation. Within days, he was removed from power by his own government. They feared humanity's retribution more than they feared admitting defeat. General Crix faced similar pressure from the Thoran Empire. His own officers refused to follow him anymore. They had seen what happened when you fought humanity. They had no interest in dying for his pride. Crix was stripped of his command and imprisoned to await trial. Councillor Thane, now serving as the Council's interim leader, requested a meeting with Ambassador Ha-Nul. The location was a neutral Lyrium meditation station, a place of peace and reflection. Both sides agreed to talk. Hanul arrived with a small security detail led by Captain Hyunwoo. Dr. Yuna came as well to provide advice. They were nervous but determined. This meeting could end the war, or it could start a new phase of conflict. Everything depended on what happened next. Thane waited for them in a simple room with transparent walls showing the stars outside. He stood when Hanul entered and bowed respectfully. It was a small gesture, but it meant something. The council had never bowed to humanity before. Ambassador Kim, Thane said, "Thank you for coming." "We have much to discuss," Hanul nodded. "We do. Let us talk about peace. And let us talk about what comes after." 5 years had passed since the war ended. The galaxy looked different now, felt different. The old council was gone, dissolved by its own members. In its place stood the Galactic Assembly, a new organization where every species had an equal vote. No more founding members with special privileges. No more domination by the oldest civilizations. Just equals, working together. Ambassador Hanul Kim stood at the window of Liberation Station and watched ships come and go. The station had been built in the Veil Expanse, the place where everything had started. It was symbolic. A reminder that humanity had fought for the right to be here. And they had won. She was the Assembly's elected chairperson now. She had not wanted the job. Too much responsibility. Too much politics. But dozens of species had asked her to take it. They trusted her. They trusted humanity. After everything that had happened, that trust meant something. "Chairperson Kim, your next meeting is in 10 minutes, said her assistant. He was Kelari, from a species that had been denied council membership for 2 centuries. Now they sat in the assembly as equals. The Kelari people loved humanity for that. They called humans their liberators. "Thank you," Hanul said. "I will be ready." She thought about how much had changed. Earth was no longer a struggling newcomer. Human shipyards built vessels for dozens of species. Human military academies trained officers from across the galaxy. Human culture had spread everywhere: music, art, stories. The galaxy found human creativity fascinating, but it was not just about humanity anymore. The war had changed everyone. The old council species had learned humility. The younger species had learned courage, and together they were building something better than what had come before. Admiral Daejung Park had retired from active military service. He taught at the Joint Species Military Academy on Mars now. His course on tactical warfare was the most popular class at the academy. Students from 30 different species competed for seats. They wanted to learn from the man who had defeated the council fleet. Daejung enjoyed teaching. He liked seeing young officers from different worlds working together, learning from each other. The galaxy was safer because of it. Wars had not disappeared, but they were smaller now, rarer. Species talked before they fought. And when they had to fight, they fought with honor. Remember, he told his students, strength is not just about weapons and ships, it is about will, about refusing to give up. The council had better technology than us, more ships, more resources, but they did not have our determination. They fought because they were ordered to. We fought because we had no choice. That made all the difference. Dr. Yuna Choi continued her research, but with a difference. Now every species cooperated with her. They shared their knowledge freely. She had made breakthrough after breakthrough in cross-species medicine. Diseases that had plagued some species for centuries now had cures. Medical technology had advanced more in 5 years than in the previous 500. Her latest project was ambitious. A universal translator that worked on neurological principles rather than language. If it succeeded, beings from any species would be able to understand each other perfectly. No more misunderstandings. No more confusion. Just clear communication. It could change everything. Captain Taeyang Lee, the man whose discovery of chromium had started the whole conflict, was now a legend. He led exploration missions into uncharted space. His ship carried a mixed crew from a dozen species. They trusted him completely. His record of finding valuable resources and avoiding danger was unmatched. His ship bore a plaque that read, "We came to the stars not as conquerors, but as survivors, and we will thrive." Taeyang looked at those words every day. They reminded him why humanity had fought. why they had refused to surrender, not for conquest, not for glory, for survival, for the right to exist, for freedom. The former council species had adapted to the new reality in different ways. The Lyrium Collective and humanity had become close allies. Their philosophical traditions complemented each other. Lyrium wisdom combined with human determination created something powerful. Counselor Thane, now retired, had written a book about the war. It was titled, What We Learned from the War We Started. The book was required reading in diplomatic schools across the galaxy. In it, Thane admitted the Council's mistakes, their arrogance, their blindness. He did not try to excuse what they had done. He just explained how they had been wrong and how others could learn from their failure. The Thoran Empire had undergone dramatic reforms. The old military leadership was gone. A new generation ruled now, mentored by human advisors. They had transformed their military from an occupation force into a genuine defense organization. They still remembered their defeat with shame, but they had learned from it. General Crix sat in prison, watching through broadcasts as his people built a better society without him. He was bitter, angry, but he was also forgotten. The Thoran had moved on. They had found a better path. The Nexari people had suffered the most reputational damage. Premier Valton had been their leader. His crimes had stained them all, but they worked hard to make amends. Young Nexari looked to humanity as a model. They wanted to be honest, direct, strong, not manipulative and scheming like their ancestors. Throughout the galaxy, the phrase from the war had become legendary. Run wasn't advice. Every species told the story differently, but they all remembered what it meant. Commander Daejung had said it when the Council fleet arrived at the Veil Expanse. It was a warning, a promise, a statement of absolute determination. For some species, it was a warning about underestimating others. For others, it was inspiration to stand firm against injustice. For humanity, it was a reminder of what they were capable of when survival was at stake, and a promise to never again allow themselves to be subjugated. But peace never lasts forever. Hanul learned this when her assistant rushed into her office one morning, his face pale with worry. Chairperson, we have a situation. Long-range sensors have detected something. A fleet, coming from beyond charted space. It is massive. Thousands of ships. And they are heading this way. Hanul felt her stomach drop. Do we know who they are? No. Their technology is unlike anything we have encountered. Their signals are incomprehensible, but their trajectory suggests hostile intent. Hanul stood up. Convene the assembly, immediately, and contact Admiral Park. I think his retirement just ended. The Galactic Assembly met within hours. Every species was represented. Humans, Lyrium, Thoran, Nexari, Kalari, Zephon, all of them, former enemies now standing together, united by a common threat. Hanul addressed them all. 5 years ago, the Council learned what happens when you threaten humanity. Today, whoever is coming will learn what happens when you threaten our galaxy. We are not the species we were when we first reached the stars. We have allies now. We have unity. We have learned from each other. She looked around the chamber. Humanity alone defeated the Council, but we are not alone anymore. Together we are stronger than anything the old Council ever was. So let them come. Let them see what we have built, and let them learn the same lesson the Council learned. This galaxy is defended. The Assembly voted unanimously to prepare for defense. Every species would contribute. Every species would fight. The galaxy that had once been dominated by a single council was now united by choice, united by respect, united by the understanding that they were stronger together. Admiral Daejung returned to service. Dr. Yuna analyzed the alien signals, trying to understand who they were facing. Captain Taeyang rallied the exploration fleet. And humanity, once dismissed as primitive warmongers, now led the galaxy's defense, not through domination, through the respect earned from those who had tried to break them and failed. A message was sent to the approaching fleet. It was broadcast in every known language and in mathematical patterns that any intelligent species should understand. The message was simple. To whoever approaches, this galaxy is defended. We tried peace first. We tried diplomacy. But when we were betrayed, we showed what we are made of. If you come as friends, you will be welcomed. If you come as conquerors, you will learn what the Council learned. We do not run from threats, we eliminate them, and now we are not alone. Run wasn't advice then, it isn't advice now, it is a promise. Turn back or face the combined might of a galaxy that learned the hard way. Never underestimate a species that survived by adapting to every threat that ever tried to destroy them. The unknown fleet approached the edge of the system. They could see hundreds of warships from dozens of species, all coordinated, all ready, all united. They studied the human battle doctrine that was now taught in every military academy. They analyzed the weapons technology shared across species barriers. They observed a galaxy united not by force but by mutual respect. After 3 days, the unknown fleet changed course. They did not attack. They did not communicate. They simply left, accelerating back into deep space. Perhaps they had recognized something. A galaxy forged in fire, tempered by betrayal and united with purpose, is not a galaxy you conquer. On Liberation Station, Hanul watched them go. Captain Jiwoo stood beside her, now serving as the station's defense coordinator. "Do you think they will come back?" Jiwoo asked. Hanul smiled slightly. "Maybe. But if they do, they will face the same choice everyone faces now.